Hello, church. My name is Gerald Hildebrandt, and I am currently serving as a deacon here in the church. In 2009, Susan and I moved to Courtenay from Alberta. One of the first things we did was to look for a church in the Comox Valley to find a place to worship and serve the Lord here. This church was near our home and also was a Baptist church, which is what we were associated with in Alberta. So this church was the one that we chose to visit first. We found the people here to be warm and friendly, and Pastor Peter Raby's preaching was excellent. So we continued to come to this church and never did visit any others. We also joined a small group for midweek Bible studies and got to know a few people in a short time. It wasn't long after we joined the church here that we discovered they were planning to renovate the church and add an extension onto the sanctuary. I heard that they wanted some help in designing a small booklet to show what the place would look like and how donations would be handled. I offered my services, which were accepted, and I became a part of the planning committee. When the church voted to go ahead with the building project, the planning committee was disbanded, but I was asked to continue with my assistance and move to the building committee. Here I kept a record of the income and expenditures in the Land and Facilities Fund. It did not take long to discover how generous the church people were. We did need to take out a mortgage for a short term, but in the end, the entire $2.2 million project was paid for. Once again, when the building committee was shut down, I was approached to take on a position as a deacon. Lawrence Burns, after serving as a deacon for many years, wished to step down, and I was asked to take on the position of board secretary in his place. I am now beginning my 5th year in this position. The last year has been a trying time for the church due to the restrictions that have been imposed on us by the government in an attempt to control the coronavirus. The thing I miss the most is being able to meet together as a church. The fellowship of other believers and the friendly interactions in the foyer are what keeps us together. But the Lord has a reason for these restrictions, and our interactions with other organizations in the neighborhood may be a part of it. For several years, the church had connected with the Arden School across the street. Every other week, the school has what they call early dismissal, and we were able to minister to the students as they waited for the buses or parents to pick them up. Bonanza, as it is called, is very popular with the students. The Bonanza get-togethers were not permitted this year, but the church staff have kept in contact with the school staff during this time. As Christmas time approached, the school principal shared with our staff that there were many families who were having a very difficult time because of the loss of income. The church purchased some gift cards, which were then given to the school principal to distribute to those in need. This outreach was very much appreciated by the families who received them. That school is considered as our neighbor, and that thought brought to mind the parable that Jesus shared with a young lawyer in Luke chapter 10. The lawyer asked Jesus, "What do I need to do to inherit eternal life?" Jesus replied, "What does the law say?" The lawyer answered, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." Jesus said, You have answered correctly. Do this, and you will live." But the young man was not satisfied and asked, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus then told him a story about a man who, on a trip from Jerusalem to Jericho, was robbed and severely beaten and left on the roadside half dead. A priest walked by him but did not stop, and neither did a Levite. A Samaritan, however, saw him and had compassion on him. He stopped to clean and bandage all his wounds and took him to an inn. He paid them to look after the man until he was healed. Then Jesus asked the lawyer, "Who of the three who saw him proved to be a neighbor?" He replied, "The one who showed mercy on him." And Jesus said, "Go and do likewise." I think we also need to have compassion for those in need, especially at this time, and do what we can to help them. The Apostle Paul, in his letter to Titus, speaks of the same thing, saying, "Jesus Christ gave himself for us to redeem us from all lawlessness and to purify for himself a people for his own possession who are zealous for good works." God bless you and your neighbor.